Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at disk management. In today's video we're going to cover everything from checking disk usage, tracking down space hogs, mounting and unmounting drives, and creating partition and so much more. So by the end of this video you guys will have a better understanding, not just the command that I'm going to be using, but also how Linux actually interact with storage at a system level. So let's get started. So first thing first, how Linux sees disk. So in Linux, everything is treated like a file, and I mean everything. That include the physical drive, SSD, USB, partition, even the keyboard. Everything is a file in Linux, which means you can pretty much edit anything. So when it comes to physical disk, everything live in the dev directory. So if we take a look inside of dev and we do ls, and this is all of our disks. SDA is my main disk for this virtual machine. SD1 and SD2 are partition. SDB is a second drive that I have. So this is where all the disks, physical drive and SSD, USB, partition, everything live in here. So in Linux, disks don't just appear and ready to use, just like when you're using a window. When you plug your USB drive in Windows, it's ready to use. You can go into the file manager, your disk will pop up with a random letter, and then you can click on it and start using it. But in Linux, if you insert a USB CD, you won't be able to use it right away. You have to mount it somewhere to be able to have access to it. So think of it like, for example, /dev SDA1, that will be partition 1, is the disk, and MNT data is the door to access it. So if we take a look, so in this directory, so that's where you will mount it, or anywhere you want actually. Well, I shouldn't say anywhere, because some places, if you don't have root access, you probably won't be able to have permission to mount it in certain location. MMT, media, CD-ROM, those are some common places you usually see you mounted this or USB into your system to use. So once you mount it, it becomes part of the file system tree, and now you can access the data. Pro tips: Linux doesn't use drive letters, so everything live under /, which is root. So if I do tree, which is a command that's gonna give you a tree visualization of how everything branch out tree. If I do tree root, it's gonna be too many stuff that's gonna be on the terminal. So let me do let me pipe that to head. That's only gonna show me the first in line. So if you look at the very top, that will be /. This is root. This is where everything live, and then after that they branch off to wherever they need to be. So you can use tree inside of it, any directory. It will show you a pretty visual of how the file and directory looks, to give you a better idea. So let's move to checking disk space. For us to do that, we use the command df, which stands for disk free. So if I type df, this is all my file system, block size, how many, I guess you can say the use percentage of the block size and what is available to use, and then I guess percentage the percentage being used. So 50% of the disk is already in use and so on, and then where the file system is mounted to. But this is kind of hard to read, so we can use the -F, which is human readable flag. That's gonna make everything so much better to look at. So if we do the F-H, now everything is so much better. Now you can see the size, everything is human readable. My main drive, this for this virtual machine is the SDA, and inside of it I have 2 partition. Which should be SDA1 and SDA2. So in Linux doesn't mount physical drive, they only mount the partition. So if I do here, this is the physical disk, which is SDA, but here you don't see it here because this is only like partition. So so I have 2 partition in there, which is SD1 and SD2. We'll get to lsblk later in this video. So we can check a specific location. So if we do df-h-home, it's going to show us where that specific directory is being mounted to, which is the root. Everything branch off from root, so that's what it's showing us, and then it's live on the second partition. We can do the same thing for df-h-home. Oops, let's see, what did I do? df-h, oh, it's supposed to be boot, not home. So you can see this one live in SD1, and size is 1.1 gig, 6.1 megabyte is being used. We have 1.1 gig available, 1%. So when we type the df dash whatever, it shows the mounting where that file system is being mounted to. We can also use the -T to add the file system type column, so you can see which file system everything are. So if we do the same thing again, capital T, now we have this column right here, which is type, that let us know which type of file system is being used. We have the 4th generation extended file, we have TFS, we have the virtual file allocated something. Not too sure about all of the file system Linux use. Oh, I was almost I was close, which is virtual file allocation table. That's what that stands for. So these are all file system type. You can use whichever one you want, but it matters on what's the purpose you're using them for, because each one have a different purpose and what they are good for. So another pro tip, watch for the percentage column, which let us know how many percentage are being used. So anything above 90% can cause serious system issues. So it's always a good thing to look at the use percentage column to see when things are about to go south with your system. So the df command is pretty simple to use. There's so many other flag you can use, but these are the one that you most likely will be using most of the time. You can always use the main page to experiment it with other flag if you want to know You can do min df. As you can see, there's a lot more you can use. A, B, H. So the main page is a good page to be looking at, I guess, so you can experiment with different flag if you want to know what everything does. Or you can do df. I think that, is it one? So this one doesn't have a dash H because one of the flag is H, but some comment if you put 2/ in H or help, it would, there's also a page that show you how to use the comment also, but I guess that doesn't exist for all the comment. So the main page will be your best bet. So now we can move to finding space hog with the do command. So the df tell you how much space is used, but not where it is used. That's where the du stand for this usage. So if you type du by itself, I mean, this is nonsense to be honest, but we can make this way better. By itself, I have a feeling all of these are hidden because of the, well, not guess, they are, most of these are hidden file, and all the way to the left side let us know the size of that file. So we can make this a little bit better to read if we do du. This one also have a H as well, but this command by itself doesn't do us doesn't do anything for us. It's better when you hunt down, like hunting down specific space hog in a like a directory you think might be filling up. So one of the places that we can, this command is mostly used is the log directory, because you know the log directory keep record of everything, so this directory usually get filled up real quick. So we can do du dash s for summary, u to make everything human readable, and then we can give it a path log. Oops. Oh, I need to be sudo. What did I, oh. Let's do sudo again, du dash sh, and then var log. Let me put my password. As you can see, the log directory is 79 megabyte. We can also do, so this is the size of everything inside of the var directory. All of these log file, the size of them. We can also drill down deeper with the command, with the sort command. So we can do sudo du sh. We're gonna give it the directory again, log. We can use the star symbol for everything inside of that directory, and then we're gonna pipe that into the sort command, and then each. If you press enter, it's gonna be sorted out from smaller to bigger. So the journal is the biggest file in there. After that will be the syslog file. So the H make it sorted out. So the X only so if we do, let me see which one did I do here. Oh, I only do the SH. So let me use the X. Let me use this comment with the X so you guys can see what's happening. Let's use it in the root directory. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do sort -h. Well, what happened? I think something went wrong. What did I do? Let me see something. What did I didn't put the pipe. Okay. That's interesting. Prioritize those. Cannot access part 519. I'm not sure why those are showing, because this one should only be locked down to the root directory, because I'm not sure why it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Yeah, because when using the X command, it lock it down just for the everything inside of the root directory. So that's the purpose of using the X. So it's only showing one file system, and it will skip other mounted file system. The S is for summary, only focusing on the root directory, and then we're gonna sort it by human rootable view. Again, the du command is pretty easy to use, nothing complicated about it, but if you want to get very complex or whatever you want to do, the main page, you can always check out the main page for anything specific that you want to do, because for every command there's gonna be a ton of other flag you can use for all of them. So if you take a look, we have null A, apparent size B, byte C. So there's a lot. So that's why the main page is very useful, because so for this one we use the X, which skip directories on different file system. We use the S, lowercase s, which is for summarize, display only the total for each argument. And then we use the H, which is human readable, print size and human readable format. So, and then the sort, we're gonna sort it. So now let's move to lsblk, which is list block device. So this command display all storage device on your system. So let's take a look. And I'm only using Debian or Ubuntu for this tutorial, because everything in here will also work on CentOS and well, so I don't want to keep going back and forth between the two systems. The only difference between that might be different is the name, that the file system name that you might encounter in one. I don't have my VMware open to quickly jump to CentOS. So let's do lsblk. So for this one, it's showing us display all storage devices on our system. So when we went to the dev directories, we did see a lot of we did see most of these. So SDA is at this size 25 meg. We have 2 partition in it. We have 1 partition which have the boot EFI, and then the second one, which is the root, which is our system. And then I did create another this in here, but it's not gonna be showing because I have not formatted this. I have not done anything with it yet, so you're not gonna see it even if I did go over here. If I go into file, if I go into here, you're not gonna see the SDB this because the system doesn't know what to do with it because I have not formatted or give it a file system yet and even mounted anywhere, so it's not gonna show up to the left. So at the end I will do that. So let's take a look at what those columns stand for. So we have the name. So like I mentioned before, so SDA, the first detect storage disk, SD125 or partition on that disk, and then you might have S or 0 for your CD, DVD drive, etc., etc. But usually the main physical drive will be SDA something. So the column, we have the name, and then we have the MAJ, and then the minimum or MIN, that is internal device number used by the kernel. You don't manage these manually. And then we have the RM, which is removable flag, meaning if you can remove it or not. So if it's a 0, that's when it's fixed. Those cannot be removed. If it's 1, that's when it's removable. Actually, in this system, there's only one removable. Is that the USB I plugged in by system? We have one removable device, which is the S or 0, and then everything else is fixed. And then we have the size column that let us know the size of whatever we inserted in our device. And then we have the OSEC column, which is read-only flag. So if it's 0, it's read and write. So meaning these or read, I mean pretty much everything except the last one is read and write. And then we have the type. This, I only have 2 disks in here, the main one and then the second one, which would have which is 207.1 gig. And then we have where they are being mounted to, so the mounting point. So root, so everything always branch off from root. That's what this / is. So snap, and then bear 5, and etc., etc. So if we take a look at CD ls, let me do one thing I never went over in one of my video is symlink, hard link and symlink. Maybe I should do a separate video for these, because usually in Linux you will see things like that have arrow next to them, like this one, like this bin. Oops. The thing with the arrow next to them, I cannot get this bigger, but let me make this a bit bigger. These are usually link. They are printed to something else, but I never went over what symlink and hard link are in any of my videos, so maybe I might do something separate for that. So let's keep it moving. So for file system and UID, we can use the -F, because when we mounted and making this our file system, we want to make them permanent into our system, it's usually recommended to use the UUID instead of the name. And we can use the dash F with the command. So we can do lsblk dash F. There should be an UID somewhere. I wish for this video though I should have used my my pirate machine, because this one is a virtual machine. I should have used an actual physical machine. That would have been way better instead of using a virtual box. But the idea is still the same. If you're using a physical machine, all this command will work. So, but I wish I used a physical one, my pirate machine instead. So using the lsblk-f, we have the SUID column. For example, like as you can see, the SDA, this will be the SUID for that. So this is what we would use in the fstab directory. This is where we put whatever we want to make permanent into our system. I will show that later on in the video. I don't have anything to make permanent, but I will just go over it. So we can use these two commands for deeper hardware level, but the thing is I'm using a virtual box for this. So let me see if I do blk id, it will still work, but I should have used my physical machine instead. So as you can see on top, this is where the root file system live, and this is the UID for it. So let's say this was a USB, or we have a SAS storage, online storage, we want to mount into this box. When we do the blk id, it will pop up in here just like that, and then we will copy the UID, and then that's what we will use. And then the fdisk will also give us the same information, I believe. Sudo fdisk-l. Let's look for SDA. Where's SDA? SDA2, I believe. So this will be the UID, I believe, even though it say this as in this identifier. So this all of our disks. Let me see. Let me see. Let me quickly do something real quick. Let me go to Pragmax real quick. Pragmax. Let's go to Pragmax. I don't even remember my password, if I'm being honest. Well, that sucks. Okay. Let me see which one I should use. Oh, these are virtual machine as well, though. Let me see which one I should use. let me see real quick. Where is my physical machine? Where is that? Okay, so this should be it. Let me see. Okay, perfect. So this is my pirate machine right here. Let me make this. Let me use my physical machine instead. Let's lower this one. Let's use this. This is a server I have in my room. Okay, so where were we? Let's do sudo blk id. That was the one. Yep. So as you can see, I have I have a lot of, I have two, I guess. This server has about like 5 or 6 terabyte, but I combined them into two. I forgot the name. Virtual disk. So I have about like 7 1 terabyte drive, and I create two. I combine them together and make two virtual disks. So this is both of them right here, and then this is the UID, as you can see clearly, the UID for them. So let me go over some of the other commands that I used before. Even for this one though, the terabyte disk is not even showing. I guess I didn't mount it in here. Let's do lsblk. Yeah, so I have two disks. Let's see something real quick before we move forward. Okay, so where were we? We were here. We just finished going over the lsblk device, lsblk. So to this, we went over what each of those columns stand for. Yeah, this one, mount and open, which is almost one. Okay, I see. I guess it's my other servers that I have the 5 terabyte in, not this machine. Okay. So now let's move into mounting and unmounting a device. Just like in Windows, when you insert a USB device into the system, it's always recommended to click and do save, unmounted, or eject. The same thing with Linux. You can also use the command unmounting to disassociate it with our system file system. So for example, I think I might as well put this let's see. So I'm gonna have to go, because I had a not exercise, the disk that I created, I was going to actually mounting it so you guys could see, but it's in VirtualBox. So okay, so let me use VirtualBox for that one so you guys can see. So let's do lsblk. So is this one, is this I'm going to mount it somewhere so it can, so I can have access to it. So first thing first, we need to format it and create a partition in it. So we can do sudo fdisk dev sdb. So we're gonna do n for new. So you can type the m for help, you know. So the letters I'm gonna be using is gonna be the N for creating new partition, P for primary, and then I'm gonna accept all the default, and then I'm gonna choose W, and then that's gonna be it. Those three are the one I'm gonna be using. So I'm gonna do N for new partition, so P for primary, and then I'm gonna press enter. I like it. And then that's it, we're done. So now if we do now we need to format it. So we're gonna do sudo make fast, and not really make fast, but mkfs dot, we're gonna give it a fourth generation extended file system, C4, and then we're gonna also put it at the same location, dev sdb1. Let's see if that is correct. Sudo mkfs dot xt4 dev sdb1. Okay, so now if we do lsblk, now you can see over here I have a part. Before, when we take a look at this, it was not like this. So this is the main disk. Inside of it I have one partition. I didn't create any different size partition, so I could have split this into multiple partition. Just like at Windows, you can have a 1 terabyte drive, and then you do 500, you assign it a letter F for, I don't know, movies, and then you split it again 90 megabyte for testing. So you can have one big disk, and then inside of it we have multiple sections. So I didn't do that for this one. I just assigned the whole this size to the partition. So now we have to mount it somewhere, because till then I won't be able to use it. So, well, I'm not gonna close. So now we have to create a file inside of the mnt directory. So we're gonna do sudo make dir mnt. So I'm gonna call this one free space. It's gonna be free space. So now I'm gonna do sudo mount dev sdb1. Let me see, is that the correct one? Sdb1. And then we're gonna mount it into free space. Let me see sdb. Let me see what happened. Let me see something. Sudo mount dev s. Okay, so I put the one command. So it's sdb, not sbd. sdb1. Okay, so now I don't have anything, but if we go into cdmnt, so we have free space. And if we do let's see, if we do, is it? So there you go. So you see my new partition is mounted into free space. This is where it's being mounted to. So now I have this drive I can store stuff in, which have 2 or 3 gigabyte of storage. Let me go into, probably won't let me go into, let's see. So there you go. So this is it. If I do property, just like as you can see, free space, it's 206 gig free. So now this drive I have, I can store stuff in it. As before, the system didn't even recognize it or couldn't even see it. So now it become part of my system. I could make this permanent, but I'm not going to do that. So let's do lsblk -l. Let me see. No, not that. Let's do sudo where is that one? Where is it? So this is it. It's right here. Just like I mounted, I can also unmounting it, and it will be part of the file system. So this whole section is what I just demonstrated. I create a file to mount the drive, and then I partition it, give it a file system, and then I mount it into that directory. So now I'm able to access it. It's the same thing. I can also do sudo unmount to remove it. So to detach the device from the file system. So that's how you mount and unmount. So this is the part that I mentioned before, the make it permanent. So we can do that inside of the fstab directory. So if you go into cd fstab, it's not is it? So this is where I will put it, in here inside of this file. So whenever you want to make something permanent, this is where you will put it. Persistent, I should say. So every time you boot up the system, you don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over again. So because I'm using a virtual machine, every time I check, I'm not seeing the UID for these. I think only one of them have a UID, I believe. I think. So when you do lsblk dash, let me see. Oh, so this one do have a UID. So I could use it to make it permanent. So how would I do that? So let me quickly do that. Let's just see fstab. Oh, nope. Let's do sudo nano. I like to use nano. Oh, this is the wrong file. Damn it. Is it fstab or am I misspelling it? Okay, so this is what I will do. I didn't copy the UID. All right, let's exit. Let me see which one is it. Is it this? Let me make this bigger so I can see if this is the whole. Where is it? So okay, so this is it. Nope, that's not it. is this one. I will copy this. And then I will go in here. I will use the UID. I think it's free space, to be honest. Now I don't even remember what did I name whatever I created, to be honest. I think it's free space. Yeah, free space. It's 4. We're gonna keep everything default. 0. And into this is how we will make this. Every time I will put my VirtualBox, the drive will automatically pop up. Boop. But because this is VirtualBox, you can choose the option on VirtualBox to make it persistent automatically. So to be honest, but this is how you will do it. But I'm not gonna do it because it doesn't make sense. Oops. But I'm just not gonna save. Actually, I'm just gonna exit. Save modify buffer. No. So let's take a look at this. Yeah. Okay. So this is where whenever you want to mount something, it can make it persistent. So this is where you will make it so. So I already went over this with the other drive. Create the directory, format it with fdisk. When it comes to fdisk, the 3 options we're using, if we want to keep everything to default, is N new partition P for primary, and then we're gonna accept all the default option, and then W to accept, so we can exit. After that, we're gonna format the partition with sudo mkfs, the whatever file system you want to give it. I use ext4, but you can, there's a wide range of other file system you can assign to it. And then once we finish with the format the partition, then we can create a mounting point to mount it into. So this section is pretty much all that. And then if it's a USB or whatever, you can unmount it, or you can just leave it so. Yep, so for permanent mounting, you can use the etc fstab with the UID, not the device name, because dev SD can change and that will mess it up. So but the UUID stay consistent. So UID is the unique identifier, mount point, extension, standard mounting option, skip dump, backup, and then 2 for F check order. Root is 1 and others are 2. And then so we can also do sudo mount a, which will attempt to, well, that's the thing, because I didn't put anything in the fstab, the using mount a is not gonna do anything. I mean, it will do something, but it will just do something with the stuff that already there. We can also mount things in the command line without even going into the fstab file. We can use the mount for that, and this is what we will do. So maybe I should have used that part. So we can use the sudo mount the -or for read only the device, the disk, and then where we're mounting into. And then we can also do that with permission, with UID GID, and the same thing to set ownership. Yes, so I already went over lsb-f. That will show us the lsblk plus the UID for the disk. lsblk-f. Yep, so next to it, it's gonna be the UUID you can use instead of the name. So there's nothing to unmount, so I'm not going. Actually, I could do that. Well, let's do that again. Let's go up, because I believe there's a USB I did insert into my system. We can also do the same thing for, if I'm being honest. Let me follow this one. Let's follow the simple one for the USB. So let's double check again. Not that one. Which is actually, it's not. Well, let's test it. Let me remove the USB. And let me run this again. Okay, so it wasn't the USB that I plugged in, so never mind. And I don't have any USB close by me to test this on, so we can move. We can move on. So this is how we will do a clean unmount with the -L. Detach immediately, clean up when no longer in use, use when your mount failed due to lingering process. So pro tips, we can use the udisk ctl mount b dash for GUI. I think Linux have maybe, I don't know if this, because if it install this, let's see, skctl. I don't even think it's installed. Let's see, this iskctl. Let me see. Yeah, it's not even installed, so let's do min. Yeah, no manual entry for that. Let's try with what I let's do mount b dev s. I do have a sdb1. Yeah, so it's not found, so I'll have to install it. But that would be like a GUI friendly for desktop, where you just like Windows. So partition with fdisk. Before we format or use a disk, I think I should have put this section way before, because this go over the file system. For Linux, we have the extended file system, 4th generation. We have the X file system, and then we have the virtual file allocation or allocated table, and then we have these two other ones that you can use for different purpose. So you can choose them based on what you need them for, but they all are different file system that you can use in Linux. Journaling is good for some of them, because journaling means that the system wide plane change to a log first, so if power is lost mid-write, it can recover gracefully. So XTS4, your reliable everyday file system. That's what most of the file system in Linux use. You have the XF, super fast and scalable for servers, and then we have the VFAT and XFAT, best for USB drive, and then we have the advanced setup. I think that's what I'm using for my Promax. If I'm not Proxmas, my Open Vault, I think. Yeah. So I already went over this. This will give the give it a file system name, which is extension for extended fourth generation extended file system. but you can also swap it with other file system. I already went over these to whatever you want. So be careful when using the fdisk to modify partition table, because you can mess up your system by wiping the wrong disk. But we also have all the ways to also partition drive. We have the fdisk, we have the gdisk, and then we have ported. All of these do the same thing, but they all compatible with different I guess file system, because this is for GP, which is the grid ported table, which is modern UEFI setup. Use gdisk or ported. This is also interactive, so if you type ported in here, you have to know the option. So you have to know what to type, because it doesn't even tell you anything unless you press M to know what you want to do. So we can use as the sudo f this probably not gonna work because I don't have any more this in my system that's not partitioned or anything like that. It's probably gonna give me an error because all my this in this system already mounted somewhere and ready to go. So if I do dev sdb, yep, it's saying so that this is currently in use, so that's not gonna work. It will only work on a fresh new drive that you recently boot up, that you have not created a file system in yet, or even create a partition table in. So it's the same thing before. You will choose the N to create a new partition, P for primary. Well, actually this one, P is not primary. P is to print current table, but this one is also interactive. Oh, I guess when you, yeah, just like before, when you type the N also have its own option for you to create which partition you need, and then you can accept all the default option, and then the W to write and save. So this is how you format partition with different file system with the mkfs. So make file system. The ext4 is the default Linux file system, but you have all the option. So let's move to sudo pod probe. So when you first create a file system and then you mounting it, sometimes it doesn't appear right away. So you can use the pod probe command or the pod X with the with the disk is. That's gonna tell the kernel to reread the partition table, and that sometimes will make everything appear in your system. It's the same thing with the port XA. So this one will add all partition from the disk to the system. Yeah, so these are very useful if you create a file system or you just finish set up, let's say a SAS drive or NAS drive, and then it's not showing up. So you can run these two commands that will make most likely make everything appear in your system. So to mount a file system, the process is the same. You have to make a folder where you want to mount it, and then you have to print the so you have to, this will be the partition, this will be where you want to mount it to. Boop. So this is, so in Linux, I think most, if not 99% of all command, the format is usually the command, which is mount, the source, and then the destination is afterward. So it will be the comment with the flag, and then the source, and then destination. So I didn't get a chance to use gdisk or ported, but the process for them is the same, except you have more option on what you're using them for. Yeah, you see, it's the same thing. All of them is very interactive. So you can type the main command to see what it does, some of the option that you can use with it. Oops. Let's do, is that ported dash analog? So yeah, but all of these do the same thing. So the gdisk and the ported, they all do the same thing, but they are more flexible. This one, it's gonna be better for the monitoring this health with the smartctl. Let me see, let me use my pirate for that. Let me see if I have smartctl installed. Sudo apt-get install smart. Is it ctl? No. Oh no, it's I have to do smart tools. Hopefully it doesn't take a long time to create, because this one would be better if I use it on a live system. So let's see, let's do, no, let's use it on SDA1 as the sudo smartctl a dev SDA1. So my read fell, huh? That's interesting. That's interesting. That is interesting. I guess I need to. That's why it's not showing up, because I'm not seeing the 800 gigabyte here. So I can't really use that because it's still a smart open device as they fell Dell or Mega Red controller. These are for RAID. Yeah, I have two RAID going on, so let's do smartctl. Smartctl. I guess because I'm running to RAID, it's not being picked up. Let me try this, because I'm running a RAID. Inquire failed, make it this way too. Let me see. Maybe I was using the one command. Let's see. Are my drive really failing? Oh no. Okay, well, kind of worry me a bit. smart health status is okay. Current drive temperature is 42C. Drive chip temperature is 65C. Error count log. So you can monitor your drive health with the smartctl. Because I'm running RAID, you do have to use the -d flag for it and the RAID you want to read. So this is one way to monitor, or you can also monitor them from your actual server. So this shows us the temperature, error log, smart status, which everything is okay. I thought for a second here, I thought my drive was failing. But actually I was not using the correct command. Let me see something. Let me quickly check something real quick. Okay. So let's keep it moving. So this is what smartctl does. It helps us monitoring the health of our disk or drive. Let us know if anything is wrong with our disk. So we can also do the same thing. We can create a job for that. So for example, we can create a simple job that's going to run at 3 a.m. or whatever time you want the job to be running. So we can give it the smartctl, the -a for health, and then the disk or the drive we want to monitor, and then from the output we're gonna look for anything that's mentioned failing. And then we're gonna send ourselves an email with the smart alert subject, and then this health alert or whatever it is. So the 03 * just mean 0. The first 0 is at minute 0 at 3 hours every day of the month, every day of the week. So this is how you create a cron job to be running at whatever specific time you want it to run. So this is good to know. So 0 meaning 0 minute, so 3 hour, so 3 a.m. Stars mean stars always mean everything, so it's gonna be every day of the month, every month, and every day of the week, unless you specific for a specific day. So H means it's gonna do a quick health check, pass or fail, grab the word failed, trigger an alert. If the disk is failing, send ourselves a mail notification that at 3 a.m. every day to let us know the status of our disk. I already went over all of these before to check this space with the df-h for human bootable. I can also do the same thing here, df-h. I can clearly see most of my drive are not even showing here because I thought I had way more space on my parrot machine. We can also do the same thing for any specific directory you want to look for space, and we can also do new disk, create a new disk by running the lsb to look for the UUID. We can run the fdisk on the disk to create a partition and format it, and then we can give it a file system, and then we can mount it somewhere. So this break everything down. So first thing first, we run the lsb purpose is gonna list all the black device with the UUID, which is what we need, and any device that we plugged in into our system. And then we can do the fdisk or ported or gdisk. All of this will do the same thing. So if you don't want to use fdisk, you can use ported, or you can use gdisk, and then it's gonna launch the partition tools, and then you can choose the option N for new partition, P for primary, and then you can choose the default option, or you can choose different size for the partition you want to create. And then if you're satisfied with everything, then you can press the W to accept and then exit. The next, you have to give it format it with a file system, whichever one you want. And then once that's done, all that's left to do is to create where we want to mount it to. In this case, it's gonna be a new disk. So that's pretty much all there is to it. And then to make it persistent in our system, we can use the lsblk-f to get the UID. Once we get the UID, it's pretty simple. The UID, the mount point, the file extension, default, and then 02, which is the 2 stand for anything that's not root. So, and then you can also use sudo mount for persistent mount too, because this will run everything that is inside of the fstab file. And then for monitoring, we can use the smartctl, the -a for everything, to see your disk status health. If you're using, just like I did know, if you're using RAID, just make sure you use the -d in the RAID command, and the RAID in the number, in whichever RAID you want to get your the status of. Just keep that in mind. So in my case, it was RAID 1. So everything D is for mega RAID 1, and then the disk. And then for unmount, we can simply use the unmount to disconnect the drive from the file system, so we will no longer be able to access whatever is in our system. So sometimes you won't be able to unmount it because maybe something is lacking it or blocking it. So we can use the lsof to list open file blocking the umount, and then we can kill it with the kill -9 and the process ID. So, and then once you kill the process, then you can use the umount again to remove it. Let me see. So this was a pretty deep overview of Linux file system. If I was using a real physical machine that actually have my Pirate Linux actually have this, but I create RAID in it, so it's gonna treat it different than physical disk, so it's not the same. It will have been way better, but everything is virtual, so you can still follow all of the command here. You still get the same output, but for me, because I'm using VirtualBox and RAID, it was a bit different for me. So so this is all the command that I show is the df to check the overall space, the du to find space usage by directory, and then the lsblk to discover black device. So when you first plug in a device in your system, it will show up here. And then the mount and umount to attach and detach a drive. The fdisk is to partition, to create partition. For the this, and then the smartctl for this health check. So this is about 90% of all this related so this is about 90% of all this related command you'll probably be using when it comes to Linux. Of course, there's so much more you can learn, but realistically speaking, no one can really teach you everything. You have to get started on your. Someone have to get you started, and then you take it from there. Because with the main page, you can experiment on your own, try your own things. Just make sure if you're gonna do anything, try not use a virtual machine in case you messed up something, and you create a restore point so you can always restore your system from a different point of time, so you don't mess up your real system. That's what I would recommend. Use VirtualBox, create a restore point when the system was good. So if you mess something up, you can erase, restore, start over again. So if this video helped you guys, hit the like button and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. I will keep posting Linux video because this is like me studying without actually me studying, if I'm being honest, for my Linux Plus and my Red Hat certification. Because my be creating these, typing them and making the notes, and that's like me writing my own notes. Posting it on my YouTube channel, that's like a bonus for me. But this is like me actually studying each of the section of the test for the test, and decided to share it on YouTube, because afterward I do go over all the comment again, try them, test them, and do other things with them, so I can get a better understanding of what's happening. So because these are always the surface level of everything, but it's up to you to take them 5-10 step further on your own. So until next time, guys, I'm probably not gonna post anything soon because I'm going to try to post a try hack me video, because I haven't posted any try hack me video because I've been focusing on my Linux studying. So I'm gonna probably post the next video in 2 weeks. So bye bye until next time.